Dylan. This is my younger brother, Nathan. And for the first episode of our movie rebrand, so to speak, we're talking about my personal favorite movie, Almost Famous, directed by Crowe. This is a movie really personal for me, really important. It speaks to me in ways that are kind of hard to quantify, but I will attempt to quantify them over the next hour or so. But Nathan, if you want to introduce yourself to the audience, so to speak, and talk about your introduction to this movie, and I guess a little bit of our relationship in terms of our brotherhood, in terms of our love for movies, please do.
Well, like Dylan said, I'm his younger brother, and we've always shared a big film love just for the two of us. And with our uncle Gus is also a massive aspect of that. But for me and Dylan, we have the propensity to like trade off movies to each other and show each other different things. And this was one that Dylan introduced to me and handed me his Blu-ray copy of the bootleg cut, which is the only cut that Dylan and I acknowledge.
Absolutely.
And I watched it, fell in love with it, and like Dylan said, it's his favorite. It's one of my favorites, and I think it's one of the best movies of the 21st century, and it's a masterpiece. I love it.
I agree. For those unfamiliar, it is a semi-autobiographical tale. Crowe is essentially writing out his adolescence and writing out his childhood onto page and then onto screen. He really was a child prodigy, a child writer for Rolling Stone who lied about his age, and then at the age of 15 went on tour with the Allman Brothers Band, The Who, Led Zeppelin, and many other acts, and then got to write about them. And essentially this movie is about his growing up, but also about that world, about the 70s, about music in the 70s, and about an almost collective spiritual love that, coming off of the 60s free love era, heading into the 80s, it was a transformative time, and there's a little bit of that free love, and there's a little bit of that Reagan era commercialization coming on into it.
That's what Lester talks about.
Yes.
In the beginning, I mean, that whole character represents just like this. He always talks about this dying era. Rock and roll is dying. It's dead. It's over. He keeps saying, and you're right. That transition into that new commercialized Reagan era is also why Russell is so important. Russell represents that, like, I'm above the band. The band is not first. I'm first. My career is first. And I think that that's ultimately what Lester is trying to get at in some way. It's not just the music. Obviously, that's changing, but also the people behind the music.
They're changing.
The figureheads are changing too.
Yep. Lester, played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman, in a very small but very pivotal role. At one point, he tells William, these people will strangle rock and roll, and they'll destroy everything that we love about it. Yeah. And this is before he goes on this journey, and in a almost prophetic way, everything that Lester tells this young man, comes true. But going backwards, at the heart of this story is William Miller, a young 15-year-old boy with a very overbearing mother, and a sister who's already left the farm. She's gone off the reservation. She's gone to live her life, and now he's kind of looking for. He's trying to find out who he is, and the only thing he does know is that he loves to write, and he loves to write about music. He has no friends at school.
None.
He makes that very clear, and the other kids make that very clear to him that he's not welcome, and he forms this kinship with Lester Bangs. First by writing him correspondence, and then kind of by following him around to public appearances and earning his trust and his admiration. But at the heart of this film is that relationship.
Absolutely.
And even though it's only about 5 minutes of screen time, maybe a little more.
I think a tad more, but it feels like gargantuan. Well, its effects are gargantuan, but you're right. It doesn't feel very long at all.
It's definitely a case of less is more.
Yes, absolutely.
I think if you double up the amount of time that Philip is in that movie, it doesn't work as well.
No.
in a weird type of way. But not to go on an entire, we don't want to spell out the entire plot for you, but William worms his way into writing for Lester Bangs. He goes to his first rock show as a journalist, so to speak, and then falls into a group of groupies, a group of young ladies following bands around, following Black Sabbath around. And William then gets introduced to a fictional band called Stillwater. And this becomes the driving force of the movie. His relationship with these guys, their relationships with each other, and the tour that they're going on.
Mhm.
You mentioned the leader of Stillwater, Russell Hammond, played brilliantly by oh my gosh, Billy Crudup. Yep. In I would say my favorite role he's done. I don't know about you.
It's easily like the most massive role of his career. I think he's worked a lot.
Yeah.
When you compare him to the other actors besides Kate Hudson, besides Philip Seymour Hoffman, Fran McDormand, whatever, he has put in a lot of work, and he's been in a lot of stuff recently. But I think this is his best role too.
Yeah.
I think that something about what I was thinking about after I rewatched this movie, when you look at some of these like biopic movies built around this era, you can kind of feel like the cosplay elements at times, with like the long hair, the facial hair. He plays it with such authenticity.
Yeah.
And like he is in the movie, he's trying to stay cool. Like he's trying to be the guitarist with mystique, like Jeff Beebe says. And you can feel that in his performance. And he just is such a moody character, and he carries that throughout the entire movie. And I think he's awesome.
I think he portrays the perfect balance of the egocentrism that any type of fame, especially rock star fame in the 70s, would bring out, alongside genuine warmth and genuine love for the people around him. He is a jerk at times, and he's very dismissive of other people's talent and other people's ambitions. He's just very dismissive of other people because, as you mentioned, he feels he's above them. He knows he's more talented than them, and so do the rest of the band, But as a performer, balancing that's a tough balancing act.
It is,
and that is a common theme in this film. These are well written characters. None of them are one dimensional. Every actor does have to teeter a couple of different lines depending on where the beats of the story are going or where their performances have to be scene to scene. But you mentioned a couple of members of this cast. We haven't mentioned Jason Lee, who plays Jeff Beebe. Somebody who most people might just know from Everybody Loves Earl. And
sorry, I had a bunch of My Name is Earl.
My Name is Earl.
I think it is My Name is Earl.
No, it's My Name is Earl.
The TBS classic.
Yeah. I did that mixed with Everybody Loves Chris for some reason.
Everybody loves Raymond.
Yeah, everybody does not love Jeff Beebe. But Jason Lee, he's also in the Kevin Smith,
yes,
universe from the early 90s aughts. So you might recognize him from that. But this was the first role that he really impressed me in.
Absolutely.
It really showed that he has some real panache and some real charisma, even in his tete-a-tete with Crudup and Russell.
He's kind of in that line, Jason Lee is, of the comedian. Well, I'm not saying he was a comedian, but he was known for a lot of comedic roles, like you said, in that Kevin Smith universe in the 90s. And then right when 2000 hits, he shows this range, and it's not like he's not overacting and it's not over dramatized.
He feels very natural too.
He feels incredibly natural, like Billy Crudup
much like Billy, yeah.
Which is why they work together so well. But no, he, like you said, this is, I'm sorry to say, like for me, the one role where he shows his true potential as an actor.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily as, the star of the vehicle, but he is just a great supporting actor in this, and you know, Jeff Beebe is such a complex character who wants people to know that he is complex.
Yeah.
You know, he wants people to like him.
Very badly.
Exactly. He's so insecure.
Yep.
He wants to be Russell. He wants to have the mystique or aura of a Russell, but he's really just the second in command.
Yeah, he's the second guy, and it's also a very weird dynamic because Jeff. There are many exchanges in the film, for the 13 people watching, that where Jeff and or Russell takes William aside and gives him a little bit of knowledge.
Yes.
Russell usually about life, just life advice about how to view yourself, how to view the world. Jeff knows more about music than Russell does.
He does.
He's studied the entire history of music. He brings up other bands and other acts very quickly. He can reference other. He does know more about music.
Mhm.
But the thing is that Russell has the natural
Yes.
aura to him
Mhm.
that you can't fake and you can't reproduce. And that dynamic is also a driving force in the film. Their
Right.
little rivalry,
Love-hate.
love
Definitely
hate
love-hate.
relationship.
One thing that I noticed on the rewatch, and this isn't like a mind-blowing observation, but speaking to that kind of internal conflict and external with Russell, Jeff is really open to being interviewed by William.
Yes.
Like he's like more than forthcoming, and like none of the other band members, you know, you either have the bassist who gives like monosyllabic answers,
one word,
the drummer who
won't
doesn't
say
say
anything.
anything, he's mute,
Yep.
and then Russell who William can't get in a moment alone with,
Yep.
because Russell probably wants to keep up that mystique about him. But Jeff is very open. He's very like, I'm right here. Like this is what my thoughts about music,
Yep.
about life, and like
he tells him over and over again, anytime you want to talk more, I'm right here.
he's
You know?
he's an open book,
Yeah.
but no one wants to open the
Nobody
book.
wants to
really.
open the book. Yeah.
Everyone finds Russell more interesting.
Yep.
Inherently, and no, I think that the Jeff character is paramount to this movie's success.
Incredible.
Mhm.
His genuine talent
Mhm.
mixed with his insecurity about being surrounded with Russell and being overshadowed by Russell, even though Jeff started the band, and
Yep.
Jeff brings that up multiple times
Jeff Beebe
throughout.
band.
It's a Jeff Beebe band. That's how we started. But we're getting off into a little bit of tangent, and this is my fault. But before we go into the next section of our podcast, really, I'm just going to try to give the audience, a reason to watch this movie. And what it is, there's a lot of love here. There's a lot of family dynamics here, a lot of friendship, a lot of failed friendships, and a lot of friendships that you wouldn't think would mean anything. There's a lot to take from this movie, just beyond the entertainment value.
Mhm.
And again, Cameron Crowe, he kind of made a career off of sentimentality,
Absolutely.
for better, for worse.
Mhm.
And for this is the best version of Cameron Crowe. So
Mhm.
if you've seen Jerry Maguire, which a lot of people have, if you've seen
Say anything.
Say Anything, which a lot of people have, they know the radio moment. This is that, but taken up a notch in terms of artistic achievement, in terms of screenwriting,
Mhm.
and in terms of having it just be relatable. Again, this is a Cameron Crowe biopic in a weird way.
Right, and it's a true labor of love in that way. You know, you can feel his passion. I mean, obviously, I think you can feel his voice through Lester Bangs,
Yeah.
and like his critique of that era. Looking back, with hindsight, he's probably looking back at what Lester was writing about and saying, man, you get the point. Like, where are we right now?
Yep.
And no, like you said, there's such a warmth to this movie, and
Every frame.
and I think it just so warm, so inviting. Like William, we're going into that world. Like I think of that moment when William is about to be just going up that ramp when Stillwater comes down from their bus going into their venue.
Yep.
And he's like, "You're the enemy. You're the rock rider." And then he pays them a compliment, and then they're immediately like, "Okay, you're coming with us, buddy. Like
Yep.
we're going in together." And I think that's kind of a good like allegorical statement about this movie, and
The
what
moment that door opens and closes,
The needle drop.
Red Dog.
The tracking shot in.
Yep.
Yeah, I must say the Red Dog.
Hey, brother.
Like we haven't seen a character like this in this movie yet. It's either been William's family, Lester, the students,
real people,
right? And then you get this outsized wacko,
groupie,
the roadie for the Allman Brothers.
Yep.
And
you're immediately transported into. It's like a crazy drug trip. You're just immediately warped into their world, and William can't get out of it. No. And he doesn't want to for a long time.
He doesn't want to.
And that, I guess, without going into any further detail, that really is what the plot of the movie is. He's on tour with these guys, and it's about their relationships, and it's about him growing into a man and finding his own path and his own self-respect. But a big part of what we're going to try to do with a lot of the movie podcasts moving forward is give out fun awards. Nothing too serious, nothing too heady, but just little fun things, movie to movie, role to role, actor to actor even, who knows. But we've got a couple of awards we want to talk about for this movie, a couple of scenes. We're probably going to have a couple of winners, a couple of runner-ups. Might get a little nerdy. But again, we really hope that this convinces a couple people who haven't seen the movie to give it a shot. But without further ado, we'll start with the most rewatchable scene, I guess. And you can take this.
My favorite sequence in the movie, thinking about it, is kind of revolving around two of my favorite needle drops. I would say Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatter by Elton John and My Cherie Amour from Stevie Wonder. I like the whole sequence when they're with the newly acquired Jimmy Fallon agent, and they go into New York, and they drop by the hotel, but then they eventually go to this club, and all the band members are sitting around, and Russell has his wife, girlfriend. They aren't entirely clear about ex-wife.
It's a girlfriend.
Yeah. And they're sitting down, buttoned up, and Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatter's drops, and then Penny Lane is like watching from across the room and trying to get Russell's attention. He won't give her the time of day. She storms out, and then William follows her into the hotel room and professes his love for her while she's heavily under the influence.
While she's passed out
on Quaaludes.
On Quaaludes and alcohol.
Yep. And then he calls the hotel doctors, and they come and they rush in and take her to the bathroom, and he's watching her stomach being pumped, and My Cherie Amour from Stevie Wonder drops, and I think that whole sequence is so much fun. It's probably one of the more melancholic sections of the movie, just in terms of seeing where the characters were and where they are now and where they're going to go after this New York trip. Penny is not with the group. She won't be with the group. And Russell and the Jeff Stillwater, they're becoming more commercialized. They're going into this new era of their band.
They're on the cover of Rolling Stone
with
now.
Jimmy Fallon. Yep. Yeah. And I think that's my favorite sequence of the movie.
Well, but before we haven't even mentioned Kate Hudson. You talked about Penny Lane. I guess just to give a little bit of context, Penny is the leader of the groupies, so to speak. She's the leader of the Band-Aids, as they call it. And she's just like an older sister. She's looking out for the other girls on tour, looking out for William. And even though she's presented as a groupie, she's the most loving character in the movie. She's maybe the only character other than William and Russell that genuinely love the music and love the feeling of being around the music and having everybody else enjoy the music.
Yep.
She's a beautiful character, and Kate Hudson is incredible. I just wanted to mention that because Penny will be mentioned throughout. We definitely should have brought up Kate Hudson.
Oh, she's wonderful.
But my most rewatchable scene, or my favorite scene, is the Uncool sequence with Philip Seymour Hoffman as Lester Bangs. It's his last scene in the movie, and it comes at a pivotal time for our main character, in which he's fully disillusioned by this life now. He's fully seen what rock stars actually are, what fame actually is, how these people treat each other, how they treat their friends and family, so to speak. And he calls them, and it's just this beautiful monologue and beautiful exchange between two really emotional, emotionally charged performers, and I think it carries an extra weight with Philip not being here.
Right.
It's almost
It
like
does.
you're getting a little touch of wisdom from beyond.
Absolutely.
And Lester Bangs in real life struggled with drug addiction, much like Philip Seymour Hoffman did, and much like Philip Seymour Hoffman, he died of a overdose. So it's a very prophetic, weird role in that respect. But that scene, it's the basis for the title of this podcast. It's super important, very touching, very well written, and it's just kind of an ethos that I carry with me. But beyond that, I really like the party sequence.
Yes.
There's a sequence in which the band has a fight. Russell storms out, and he wants to find something real. He keeps banging the drum on. These people aren't real. I got to find something real. He tells William, "You're real. Let's go."
You want some real Topeka people.
And
that's
then
what those people drive up.
Yep.
They're real Topeka people, man.
Yep. And they find these high schoolers in a VW bus, and they go to a house party. And I mean, it isn't really clearly stated, but Russell is beyond famous.
Right.
Even in the background of that scene where they're walking out, every single background actor is pointing at them. So it'd be like going to a house party with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
It's just like, what is this guy doing here? But in kind of a heel turn, you expect him to be a douchebag.
Right.
He's actually very warm and loving and weirdly encouraging of all these kids at this party. A lot of his advice doesn't even make sense because he's drunk and he's taking other drugs. But there's a genuine love for the fan and for these kids here. The entire sequence is great. Everything outside when he's on the roof is incredible. The Golden God sequence. Everything with this.
It's so well shot too.
Yeah.
Like that shot, it was probably a crane shot up there.
It has to be. Yeah.
Right behind him, and with the pool on the
and then
on the
everybody
bottom.
surrounding the pool.
It's just fantastic.
There are some great shots in this movie. You and I talked about it, I think, last week. The cinematography definitely isn't the main.
No, it's
the main feature. Of this
script, character, tone, mood. That's foremost the most important thing in the film. But it's a very well made movie. Yes.
Yeah. Any honorable mentions for your favorite scenes?
Something that's tied directly to that sequence is the Tiny Dancer sing along in the
100%.
bus. You know what's funny? I was thinking
It's
about it right
all-time
now.
Classic.
I remember watching a video on YouTube about like music sequences in movies, and that popped up.
Oh yeah.
And that's like a huge one from the 21st century. And I swear I watched that clip, the full clip, before I even watched the movie. Yeah. And talk about it like a warm sequence. And I mean, I'm a huge fan of Elton John. I love Tiny
Elton
Dancer.
John's great.
Cameron Crowe, just aside, has great taste in music.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing with the soundtrack.
The soundtrack to this film, to me, it's up there with some of the best of all time in terms of the choices made. It reminds me of like American Graffiti in terms of just like how many songs. I believe the budget for music for this movie was like $3.5 million. Just to get songwrites, right. Because before this, nobody was getting Led Zeppelin songs in movies. I think there's 4 or 5 Led Zeppelin songs in this movie. He gets Beach Boys, the Allman Brothers, The Who, The Guess Who, Rolling Stones, Elton John, Bowie. Yep. Pretty much everybody of that era other than the Beatles, who were genuinely impossible to get back then. But yeah, just as a quick aside, the soundtrack to this movie is incredible. You are correct. Cameron has
just impeccable taste in the music and
the use of the needle drop.
Right. Like, that's another really good point. And the Tiny Dancer sequence, this is going to sound corny, but it really is a scene about how music can bring people together.
100%.
And even like a kind of, semi-cheesy Elton John song can bring a hardened and
Yep.
you know, rock and roll band together on that bus. When that song is just letting everyone kind of get it out. They don't even really talk about what just happened with
Nope.
him storming off, going to the party,
Leaving the
alone.
band. Yep.
And that brought them back together. I think it's a really beautiful part of the movie.
It is. I couldn't agree more. It's a you know, art is often a spiritual thing. That you really
Mhm.
couldn't put words to, and you don't really need to put words to sometimes. I think everybody has that certain song, or that certain artist, or that certain movie, or that certain book, that certain painting, whatever, that just speaks to them in a way that
Mhm.
you can't really put words to, and that's a hard feeling to put on screen.
Yes.
And I think that's perfectly done here.
Mhm.
Like you said, there's no dialogue in that scene. It's just moodiness. And then as that song progresses, one character joins in,
Yeah.
another character joins in, it just becomes infectious.
It's the slow build up.
Yeah.
That's what really makes that sequence fun. And then you finally get to Russell in the front, covered by the towel, and he like freaks out and loves
Yep.
it. And
Yep.
it's such a in the midst of all that chaos, and they're traveling on that tour, they don't get the moment to really breathe. And that's a moment in this movie where they really get to be together, harmoniously.
Yep.
And yeah, that's one that's like a great 10, 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Then going from the whole t-shirt issue,
Yep.
where Russell is the one highlighted out of the group, and then they leave, go to the party, and then the bus.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's a terrific sequence. I mean, this scene. I mean, this movie has an almost unlimited amount of rewatchable or favorite scenes for
Mhm.
me. Another really quick runner-up, so to speak, would be something you can only find on the bootleg cut, and that would be the scene in the radio station.
Oh, really? I didn't
With
know that was only.
that's
Wow.
not in the theatrical cut, but the
Okay.
band goes down to a radio show, and Kyle Gass of Tenacious D fame is the DJ. He's smoking a really big joint the entire time, and he's floating in and out of consciousness. And this movie does have a lot of humor, but that's like a pivotal moment where it's like this is designed to be funny,
Yes. Mhm.
and then it is bookended with a little bit of the seriousness of their relationship. But I love that scene, and I think it's important to highlight. And yeah, that's not in the theatrical cut. And there's
Crazy.
you know hundreds of thousands of people who saw that movie who've never seen that scene.
Yes.
And it's fun. I couldn't imagine taking that out.
Another PSA to whoever's watching: buy the bootleg cut.
Yeah,
Watch that, please.
it's much better.
Theatrical, I'm sure, is great. I mean, it was good enough to warrant a bunch of
Oscar
Oscar
nominations. Yep.
nominations, and
Yeah.
people giving it rave reviews, and probably on a bunch of top 10 lists of 2000. But
Yeah.
definitely go with the bootleg cut. I think it's just so chock full of good stuff.
Yeah.
And it makes everything feel a little bit deeper and
More connected,
meaningful.
more meaningful, 100%.
Yeah.
Who was your MVP of the movie, so to speak? Who won Almost Famous for you? Who's the big draw for you?
If we're talking about performances, it's it's probably more. I was gonna say two, but it's probably a three leg race between Crudup, Hudson, and Philip Seymour Hoffman. I think Philip Seymour Hoffman, if I could differentiate them, I think that Billy Crudup probably gives the best performance in the movie. I think Kate Hudson gives potentially the most. It's she's an ingenue. That's like an arrival performance.
Yeah.
Like, who is that?
Yeah.
And then Philip Seymour Hoffman probably has the most iconic for the
Yeah.
movie. If I had to pick one, it's tough, but I'd probably have to go Crudup. I think he wins the movie for me. I think I mean, he's kind of a co-lead with William when you really think about it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Same with Hudson, Penny Lane. I think that it's the best performance of his career, and I can't say that about Philip Seymour Hoffman, even though I love him in this. I think there
No,
are
for
others that are
sure.
better. And with Hudson, she's been really good in other things. It might be the best of hers too, but the more that I watch it, the more that I feel connected to and always appreciate the Crudup performance. I think he won it for me.
I agree. I think Crudup is, for me, it's like a 1A, 1B. And
Mhm.
for me, the B is Patrick. I think
Okay.
he's not better. He's not a more talented actor than Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's not more talented or more charismatic than Kate Hudson or anything like that. But
Right.
again, as a 15-year-old actor doing your first role, I think he's he's the co MVP of this movie. I think them as the two leads.
Mhm.
I don't think I don't think I'd want to see any other two combination of actors try to recreate what those two recreated here. I really wish that Patrick had blown up after this. I think he's super talented.
Me too.
Uh, but I would say it has to be Crudup and then Patrick right under. Crudup, he just exudes the amount of I don't, he feels like a superstar.
He
And
really does.
and he's not somebody as an actor who anybody would think is a
He
superstar.
doesn't project superstar at all.
You think Brad Pitt, you think
Right.
Leo, you think 15 Ryan Gosling, you think of a
Right.
million names before Billy Crudup, but yet I think because of that, he can really shine here because he brings an everyman
Yes.
sincerity to a character in which I don't think you're supposed to relate to him on paper.
No.
You know, you're not. How many of us can relate to the rock star or the movie star? Very few of us. But there's something about him, Billy, as a performer that almost every role you feel like, oh, I can trust this guy. You know.
It feels like Russell is like the combination of all these people that Crowe, was with on those tours
Yep.
and writing for. You get the good and the bad.
Yeah.
But like the movie, he just projects warmth, and you want to be around him. Like everyone in the movie, Penny Lane wants to be around him. William desperately wants to interview him to get to know him better. He doesn't get to at the very end of the movie, which makes the ending so powerful. But he hasn't put in a performance like this. Not saying that he's not giving good performances, but what another direction I want to go up before I finish that thought was, this movie makes a lot of discoveries with their actors. I think that if I believe it's definitely Patrick Fugit's first performance.
Yep.
And Kate Hudson's first.
I believe so.
And Billy was in the beginning of his career, and I think that's another fun aspect of his performance and other performances where, we have no prior relationship to them as actors or performers, and
so
to a lot of people,
so you kind of always see them as that.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
They're so tightly tied to those roles, and it's kind of a blessing and a curse that they're so tied to it, because obviously this movie will live on forever, and this movie's fantastic. But I'm sure you can probably be typecast in a way, and
100%.
But Billy, his Russell performance is excellent.
It's a shame that he didn't get a little more award recognition.
No, he didn't.
Even like any nominations, not even Golden Globe nomination.
Not even the Globes.
Which is too bad, because it's really, really special. Moving on, would you say this is his peak? Because we talked about it beforehand, and I guess this is Cameron Crowe's peak.
Definitely Cameron's Crowe peak.
Easily. I think it might be Kate Hudson's. Which is weird because it's her first role.
Yeah, and talk about an actress who's kind of floated in and out of the stardom.
Yeah.
Like, I know that she's a mom now and she has her own, I think, cosmetic company.
Yeah, she's doing her own thing.
She's doing really good stuff, and exactly. No, I think this is probably have to be her peak too.
I think Kate Hudson is a really shining example of like not great role choice, whether that be her personally or her representation.
Right.
She's a lot more than the rom-com girl.
Yes.
That like most people know her. Oh, like her Matthew McConaughey.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Like that's how most people know Kate Hudson. And
absolutely.
That's shameful. Kate Hudson is a really talented woman, and back then she was just bursting with potential and bursting with ability, and I don't know. It really is odd to see the trajectory that her career took. So this could be her peak. It is Cameron's. It's probably Patrick Fugit's.
Definitely Patrick Fugit's
peak. It might be Billy's.
I think
You
it's
know, I mean,
definitely Bill. I think it's definitely
he's
Billy's.
probably known more for like Watchmen, him being Doctor
Yeah,
Manhattan, but he was blue, so maybe not.
maybe
You
yeah,
know,
it was all CGI.
so people might not even recognize him from that as much. But
Right.
you know, and I will say he's somebody I need to watch a lot more of his work. There's a
Me
ton of
too.
stuff he's made that I've just not seen.
You know, I think he's done a lot of indie work,
Yeah.
and I know work in TV.
Yep.
And I just haven't gotten to it, like you
Yeah.
said, and I want to, but that's the thing with these performers. They kind of just float in and out, like I said about Kate Hudson.
Yep.
Like they're never they're not in the limelight like they are in this.
Yeah.
You know, not given the chance to really drive a movie forward. You know, and it's the narrative rests on them.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate because they're all super talented, and the only person that's probably gotten like the blank check after this movie to do whatever they want is Cameron Crowe with like Vanilla Sky.
Yep.
You know, that was the next big project, and also Jason Lee's really good in Vanilla
He is.
Sky as
Jason Lee is
Tom
great.
Cruise's friend.
As his
he's
friend,
awesome.
his like jealous friend. Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, I think that those four,
This is
Crowe,
their peak.
Fugit, Crudup, Hudson, those four, I think this is their shining moment.
And probably Jason Lee too, but you know,
but you gotta remember My Name Is Earl.
yeah, that was a big deal.
It really was.
That was a huge show. That was a cultural phenomenon for a couple years.
I wish,
and I've heard good things about it.
Oh, I'm sure it's funny.
I've heard
our boy Ethan Suplee's in it.
Ethan Suplee's a big part of it. Yeah, but it's a lot of people, I guess, converging at the right time, so to speak. It's a lot of people peaking right when they should have, I guess. And it really does feel like a magic in a barrel type of moment.
Yes.
I was watching a special feature to Almost Famous before you got here today, and that's what Cameron Crowe said. They shot it pretty much. They tried to shoot it chronologically. Okay. And the first thing they shot was William and Lester walking up that street after they meet. Because he's like, this is where we first met. He walked out of that radio station. Wow. I want to shoot that first. And he's like, after shooting one take, he's like, this is going to be magic. And everybody's awesome. Like, this is going to be something. And you know, when that feeling must be incredible, you know, to be able to tell your life story and do it in a way that really stands the test of time. I think if you were to give this to, if you were to like put one person on the top of their peak, I think this is Cameron Crowe's shining achievement. I think this is everything he'll ever be proud of.
Absolutely.
He still talks about this film like it's his baby, and it is.
It is his baby. It's like it's a labor of love.
So I think you'd have to give him this is his peak.
This is his peak, and it's probably he's the top. You know,
and he won the Oscar.
He won the Oscar for best screenplay, and
was he nominated for best director?
I believe so. I could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe
I don't even know. I don't remember who won that year, but
I remember checking. It wasn't something that I was too enthused about. But
right.
Maybe we'll check that at the end. But
before you move on, I just want to say we talk about, me and you talk about how some people were born to play this role or born to direct this movie, born to write, whatever. Cameron Crowe was born to direct this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely born. No, I don't think anyone else could have done it as well as him.
No.
You know, it wouldn't have felt this. It is his. It's his baby. And
be ashamed to have watched another director tell your life story like that.
Absolutely. You go ahead.
Well, we touched on in the beginning, Philip Seymour Hoffman as Lester Bangs. In that vein, one of our awards will be the Lester Bangs Award, kind of like the Six Man. Well, the Dion Waiters more so.
In basketball terms.
In basketball terms, the performance that like gives you the most with the least amount. And of course, for this movie, Philip Seymour Hoffman will win the Lester Bangs Award for being Lester Bangs. Again, 6 or 7 minutes. We touched on it earlier, so I won't go into too much detail. But Philip was just such a talent, widely agreed upon as the best of his generation by other actors in his generation. Everybody says he was the man that people were trying to emulate in terms of his work. Very tragic story. Somebody was taking much too soon, and this is a really interesting, really special, again, as I touched on, almost spiritual performance that's really tied to his personal life and how he ended up passing away. and it drives these little scenes with him. They really drive the movie.
They really
Every
do.
time William is about to really spiral out, he gives
Advice.
he gives him a call, and Lester is always there for him. Anytime you need to call me, call. I stay up late. He tells him right away. He's like, I'm here for you anytime, day or night. And it's a very beautiful relationship. It's like the father figure of the movie, the God figure of the movie.
Because William doesn't have that.
Yep.
He desperately needs that figure in his life.
Yep. And so that's like his savior in the context of this film.
Absolutely.
And much like you or I might pray, anytime he needs something, he calls Lester up. That's his guy. And again, these scenes are incredible. You can watch all of them in a tiny little YouTube compilation because they're so short, but they're bursting with personality and bursting with love and ability. Again, Philip Seymour Hoffman was one of my favorite actors, one of the most talented guys to ever do it. And I still really look forward to seeing what his son Cooper Hoffman does. I think Cooper is touched by that same gene.
Yes.
And hopefully someday he can be a Lester Bangs recipient on the podcast. I think Cooper is great.
He's great in Saturday Night. He could be that in Saturday Night.
He is.
That argument scene he has with Lauren?
By far the Lester Bangs in that one. I wish he was in that movie more. The movie would be stronger with a presence like his. But I would imagine that Philip would win the Lester Bangs for you for this movie as well.
It's going to be named. That award's going to be named after him. He kind of just hovers over the movie despite his 10 minutes of screen time.
He's mentioned a lot.
He is mentioned a lot.
Penny Lane, every time she introduces somebody to William, he knows Lester Bangs.
He knows Lester Bangs, which is
he's friends with Lester Bangs.
A stamp of approval
in that world.
Even though Lester and I'm sure other fellow critics and critics today, they're not liked or loved by the artists or people,
but they're respected.
Exactly, they're respected because he, is a soothsayer. He drives opinion. Exactly, he drives opinion. He gets people to listen. He gets people to turn, put on the record.
Yep.
And just to echo you, Philip Seymour Hoffman was such a special actor. And was. He talk about whose work will live on. Yeah. His will always live on. He's been important in stuff. We share our love for Twister.
Yep.
To The Master, to his more dramatic stuff with PTA.
He's my favorite Mission Impossible villain.
Easily the best.
It's not the best Mission Impossible movie, but the gravitas that he brings in that role is great. I mean, he's great. He's great in things like Along Came Polly. He could do everything. He was truly an everyman who could a rare combination of everyman and chameleon.
I was just going to say chameleon.
That dude could play anything, and we would have seen really incredible work from him.
We're just lucky to get all that work.
Yeah, and there's still so much that I need to go back and watch.
From the 90s, aughts, and then 2010s, he put in such great work.
I mean, his scene in Hard 8.
Oh, he's rolling the dice.
He's the award. He'd be the award winner for that movie.
Absolutely,
that's an incredible scene.
In Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yes.
He's amazing.
He's incredible.
You could name him after the character in that movie.
He might win that award for every movie he appears in.
Where he's not the lead.
Right. Because he's just that magnetic, and that, and he's somebody who, if you talk to somebody who watches one movie a year, they're like, oh, he's great. I saw him. I saw him in Along Came Polly on TBS on one time. That guy was great. It's like, and that's all they've ever seen him in, and they still noticed him more than Ben Stiller. And he was that guy, and it is a shame, but he's definitely the award winner here. And Lester Bangs as a character is just so cool. It's a very cool role. Cool.
Even though the character himself, you can kind of feel the energy Philip Seymour Hoffman gives off is like, I'm too good for this. Like, I'm too cool for William.
For the current state of music,
this world,
too.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like an anti-hero.
Anti-hero
performance where you can feel. I'm sure the Lester Bangs himself would be like, oh, I don't want to be in this big movie. I don't want to have anything to do with this.
Oh yeah, for real.
Like, yep. I'm gonna work for the man. I don't want to work for the man.
Don't want to get a paycheck from the man. Yep.
And he gives off that energy, but it's just his.
But it's genuine. That's who he is.
His depth of performance shows. Right. he was a talented performer in getting in provoking empathy.
Yeah.
You know, he was so good at that.
Very empathetic, very sympathetic. You wanted to root for him the moment he was on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Much this is kind of hand in hand with the Lester Bangs Award, but we're big NBA fans, big basketball fans. Nathan's wearing a Bucks crew neck. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
you are.
Yeah. And
Loud
so
and proud.
one of the awards we're gonna give to this for this movie would be the sixth man of the movie. You can start with your sixth man of this movie.
You know, I'm sure we share this.
I think we do.
Talked about this.
Yeah.
Ironically, we were talking about, you know, Jason Lee.
Yep.
And his total insecurity in this performance.
Yep.
And, you know, like in the NBA, the first person coming off the bench, you know, has to have that confidence in himself. And even though he is playing this entirely insecure character who is desperate for approval, you know, Jason Lee has this weird confidence about him
as a performer.
And you kind of get the sense that he thinks he should be the lead of Almost Famous.
Yes.
Like both maybe the actor, but the character of Jeff.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, Jeff wants to be the front man. Like he wants to be the guy in charge and in the limelight. But you know, I think Jason Lee. We went over his interesting career, and we didn't go back. This is probably the peak of his film roles.
Yeah.
And I think he's used perfectly here. He's deployed very strategically. And there's this one sequence in the movie that I noticed rewatching it where, you know, it's, I don't remember what place they're in, but they're in the hotel and William is going through the hall and Jeff is just sitting there playing his guitar and gives him a little
wave.
Head nod. And that's kind of speaks to both like the presence of him. Talk about, we keep saying warm with this movie, but he is so warm.
He is warm.
In
the insecurity is real,
right?
He also his propensity to want to connect is very real too.
Right.
Whether that comes out of neediness or genuine love for whoever he's around is kind of up for debate, I guess. But you can't debate that Jeff is a very warm character and that Jason is a very charismatic performer. Even though
what he says at times to Russell, other people, to William, calling him the enemy multiple times, he's very abrasive. Yeah. You know, he's not an easy person to get along with, but you know, he started that band and
he's proud of it.
He's very proud of it.
Yep.
Very, very proud of it. I don't know who else would be in the running.
I think
you could put in.
I think you can make a point for Jimmy Fallon.
Yes.
As a sixth man. I guess his role is so small that he's more up for the Lester Bangs Award.
Right.
But you're not going to win that in this movie. I think you could make that case for Frances McDormand as the sixth man. Her scenes kind of drive the movie quite a bit. You could make that case for
there's one Noah Taylor.
Noah Taylor. That was who
That's everything.
That is who I was thinking.
He is so funny.
Noah Taylor plays the manager of the band, and I think he might be the runner-up for that for me for this one. Noah Taylor is really, really funny and really
sad,
charming and sad.
Yeah.
And, everything that happens with him in the tail end of that movie is really interesting and kind of hard to watch. But he's great in this. His scene with Mark Maron is hilarious.
The fight scene, the karate.
What
is that,
scene.
Karate? Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, but everything in that scene is born out of like a genuine love. You don't screw with my band's safety ever. You don't hurt my guitarist ever.
Nope.
You know, and he does love those guys. And you know, at the end, he's like, you know, if I ever took a couple $dollars off the top, it's because I knew I earned it. You know, he's not the best manager in the world.
Nope.
But he loves those guys, and they are a family. They're just not the most functional one.
Right.
You know, but I think he is incredible. I think he is the runner-up.
Yeah.
But I think Jason Lee is incredible here.
He's so good.
I think he is warm. He is funny. He is insecure. He's charming. He's everything that you want a rock star to be. And he's a little more human than Russell at points, like as we've touched on. He's more approachable. He's more willing to talk. But it seems like that willingness is more about his ego as opposed to
exactly.
You know,
not like his actual internal like, oh, I'm just gonna help William out.
Yes.
You know, I'm gonna make this as smooth.
a smooth article for him.
Right. No, he wants to get his persona out
there.
Right.
By the end of the movie, I do believe that Russell genuinely has learned and has made a flip where like he's not doing that last interview with William to do it. He's doing it because it's the right thing to do,
Mhm.
and because he genuinely cares about William, and he's glad that he was tricked into being there.
Mhm.
At least that's how I read it.
No, I read it the same.
But a couple more little things. You had an overacting award.
Okay.
Who do you have as the overacting winner here?
You know what? This is probably someone coming out of left field. We haven't talked about this at all.
Oh, cool.
So, well, maybe we have. Every time I watch it, there's one person that sticks out to me that overacts, and I don't know he's kind of like that guy. I don't know if I've even seen him in anything else. The guy who plays Ben Fong Torres.
Oh, for sure. I can see that.
Honestly, anyone in the Rolling Stone
I can see
office, it feels like they're kind of in a different movie. Like, I love Rainn Wilson, and I don't know the actress's name who, gives William a really hard time at the end of the movie, but I like their performances. It's just they're definitely overacting.
I would say the only one who, I agree, and that's not something I've thought about.
It's funny though, but all their performances are good.
The only one who isn't overacting in the Rolling is Jan Wenner, the editor, but he only has like 2 lines.
Right.
And it's just like straightforward, blah, 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 very like quick and clean and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
To that point, I told you there's an extended scene at the Rolling Stone table with more.
Okay.
Rainn Wilson has more to do and more to say. And it does feel like it's in a different movie. It feels like it's trying to be a little too cute, a little too funny.
Right.
And when I'll show you that extended scene, Cameron did a good job cutting out. He did a great job cutting that scene. But yeah, I could definitely see the Ben Fong Torres guy.
But the funny thing is,
winning that award for sure.
There's this part in the movie when William's on the phone with Lester, and he's like, "What do I even write Rolling Stone? Like, how am I going to sell their being the cover story? What's interesting about Stillwater?" And then, I don't know word by word, but Lester's like, he gives him this long
it's a think piece.
Yeah, think piece about
a mid-level band struggling in the face of stardom and all that.
And then William gets on the phone with Ben Fong Torres and tells him that in his deep
word for word
deep voice, and he's like, "I love it.
I like what we're saying.
I love what we're saying here.
I'm gonna get you some more words."
And I think that in a weird way, the performance, now thinking about it, it is overacting, but it also works because it's that other world that Lester doesn't like.
Yep.
And I don't
that
think
William has no idea about.
So maybe just giving some credit to Cameron Crowe, it is maybe supposed to feel a little bit different, that world. It's definitely different, not as natural.
A little more buttoned up,
Hammy, a little hammier,
Lester, you see him as a critic. He's just in a crappy apartment, chain smoking cigarettes with records towered up everywhere.
Right.
Barely any furniture, takeout everywhere. And that's the world of criticism and music that William is more familiar with.
Yes.
Not the everyday.
Not the go.
Yeah.
What's happening next in the office. Right.
I could definitely see that.
Who's yours? I'm curious.
Maybe the guy who plays Red Dog.
Sure.
But that performance works for me, to be honest with you. Maybe Anna Paquin. Okay,
that's another good one that I didn't think about now.
I don't think Anna her.
She doesn't really fit either.
She's doing to me, I would say either that or Anna Paquin. And it's not because Anna Paquin isn't talented. She can be very, very great.
Mm-hmm.
She's not given a lot to do, and what she is given to do, it doesn't work in terms of her weird fascination with Jeff and her weird little anecdotes and conversations that she gives William throughout.
Mm-hmm.
They're well written. I think she's overacting a little bit. So I guess I'll give it to Anna for this one.
In an interesting detour, I mean, she's coming off. I think she's like 6 years off of winning the Oscar for the piano. At what was she, like 8 years
13.
old?
Oh no, yeah, she was younger.
She was like 8 or 9.
She was younger. You were right.
She has had an interesting career too.
100%.
I like Anna Paquin in parts.
Yeah.
I would agree though that after rewatching it this time, she did kind of stick out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but all the group, not the groupies, the Band-Aids.
All the Band-Aids are weird, and that
right.
But see, like, individually it doesn't work with her,
Yes.
but when
When
she's
together,
part
when
of
they're
the
together.
group, it's like, oh yeah, all their weirdness and there's a lot of like background conversations where you're just like barely hearing the girls, but they're freaking out. If I
Mhm.
don't get in this hotel room and take a Valium, and then it just cuts them off. You're like, oh,
Mhm.
what are these young ladies actually up to? You know, like their craziness is kind of hinted at and barely seen.
Barely seen.
But yeah, like I said, it works as a collective, individually not so much.
Yes.
That being said, Firuza Balk,
Oof.
she's great in this,
She's great.
and her individual scenes as one of the Band-Aids are incredible.
Mhm.
Both her chasing down the bus to talk to William after her incredible scene talking to Frances McDormand on the phone, her last scene with Russell
Mhm.
talking about the new groupies who are joining the tour, and about 20 years from now we're only going to remember Penny. We're not going to remember anybody else.
And it kind of that's kind of the catalyst that drives him to go back to Penny, but he ends up getting tricked and goes to William.
She's great.
She is
in
a
this.
key. Talk about she's another person that probably could have been in the Lester Bangs, like
Yes.
does the most with the least.
Yeah,
she's
she's definitely up there.
I've seen before in other things, but on the rewatch, she also stood out to me.
I think she's really great in this. Again, her phone call with Frances McDormand, where Frances is like, I know what's going on, and she's like, okay, well, before you go on your mom thing,
right,
I'm gonna let you know that you should be really proud of him. He's having a good time. We're taking care of him. It's a very warm moment in a sea of like, nobody's looking out for this kid. And then you're reminded, no,
they are.
And they all know that he's young.
Right.
They don't know that he's 15, but they all can tell that he's somebody who hasn't lived in that world and needs to be protected and taken care of, And I think she's a big part of that. She's, other than Penny, she's the best out of the Band-Aids for sure.
Totally. Yep.
Totally agree. You also had, as our last award, the Crying Jordan Award, which is everybody knows that meme. It is one of the most famous memes.
Probably.
I mean, honestly, you just put it up. But what did you have in mind for that, and both as an award and as your winner for that award?
So for this award, thinking about it, and this is really a strength in Kate Hudson's performance, but this is gonna sound weird, but she's a really good crier on screen, and Cameron like lets her cry and like breathe, like lets her breathe, and like it stays on her. And there's a couple of sequences where
couple of tears.
William thinks he's introducing her to
that
Russell,
magic,
and it cuts away a couple times, but oh my gosh, just the look on her face and the emotion she's conveying, and obviously
the song in the background,
right? And towards the end of the movie, when she's basically sold off of the tour to another band.
She sold the humble pie for $50 in a case of beer, case of Heineken.
And she has this birthday party, and they're having cake and everything. And Jimmy Fallon's character says something to the effect of, "I wish there was more room on the plane."
Yeah, on her birthday.
That's it.
Yep.
And then he walks away.
Just walks away.
And then she looks at Russell,
and he looks down.
And he looks down. He doesn't want to make eye contact. But then eventually, William pulls her aside and tells her basically everything that she didn't know. Like, you're off the tour. Like, it's over. You were sold off. And there's another great sequence when she's just allowed to react and not cut away.
That shot is incredible.
She's a natural actor, and that just speaks to how good of an actress she is.
Both of those frames you could print out and frame. And she, not just because of how beautiful she is and all of that, like it's one of the most stunning moments of facial acting that you'll ever see. Both of those moments. The second one, when I rewatched it twice in the last week now, the second moment that you're talking about, where William reveals a little too much and accidentally hurts her, it's one of the most heartbreaking looks you could ever see like a 19-year-old girl have to go through. And that is how old she was. She was a child making this, and even though she's a more mature character than William, there's still an innocence to her.
Absolutely.
Even though that, I mean, within 20 minutes of that, being in the world, that because you're meeting all these other band managers and they all know her, and it's all very clear that they've slept with her, and all the bands have slept with, and everybody has been with Penny,
Mhm.
but there's still like a very real sense of innocence to her,
Right.
and to see that broken is really wild, and she's incredible. Again, those two moments, we should have seen that for the next decade from her.
Oh, I
That type
agree.
of acting, that type of gravitas, she's incredible, and
Mhm.
those two moments are incredible.
Yeah. And in those sequences, well, Patrick Fugit plays a big role in both of those sequences.
Yeah, in two
And
different ways. Yeah.
and there's another actor, Patrick Fugit, who's really, we haven't talked enough about him, I don't think, but he is so good in this movie. And there are a couple of sequences where he's forced to cry or emote, and one on the phone with Lester near the end,
Yep.
and another one where he just like
Throws a fit.
breakdown in the hotel
Yep.
after he tries to interview Russell
For
for
like
the
the
upteenth time,
yeah.
and he just sits and falls asleep. And talk about, it's really cool that those two actors, Patrick and Kate, this is basically, I think it is their first movies, especially Patrick. I know,
Yeah.
I don't know about Kate. And like you said, that loss of innocence, Penny, that character's already kind of gone through that. She's already kind of been through what William's currently going through in the movie,
Yep.
and she's kind of desensitized by it. But they're both so young, both performers in real life and in the movie, and they kind of share in that youthful, you know, disdain for the world they're in, even
Yep.
though that Penny's just more involved. She's been
Yep.
more involved, and William's slowly learning who adults are, how they
Mm-hmm.
behave. You know, he sees it with his overbearing mom at home, but then he's on the road and he's like, I worship these people, but they're equally as
They're
messy,
yeah.
and I can't relate to them.
But unlike mom, they don't care. You
Exactly.
know.
She actually cares about me. She
Yep.
wants me to be home for the graduation and wanting to be a lawyer
Yep.
like Atticus Finch.
Yes.
And he he Patrick does a really good job of going through that motion of like, I'm so excited to be here, but also with the really low lows towards the end of the movie and his exhaustion.
And to me, that's why he's my co MVP. Is his character has to do the most.
Mm-hmm.
The other characters, they have a couple of switches they have to flip. He has to like genuinely go on a journey as an actor, scene by scene, and he's in every scene almost.
Basically,
there's a couple montages where it's like cutting to like people in the hotel rooms when they're separated or whatever, but if there's dialogue, he's in that scene and he's carrying the dialogue of that scene as a 14, 15-year-old. And like you said, yeah, from the excitement, the high highs to the low lows and everything in between, the love, the hate, it I don't know. He's incredible in this. I'm beating a dead horse, but I can't believe that his career didn't turn out a little bigger. But
mm-hmm.
a lot of that has to do with marketing yourself and going for certain things. And a lot of people make a choice to step back, and maybe he
A
did
lot of
that.
young performers. That's what happens
Yeah.
to a ton of good young performers. They just kind of get thrown by the wayside. And you know, as a kid, he could he's really a good actor as a kid, and he can project. And he obviously, this movie's on his shoulders. Maybe people just didn't want to give him that. I don't know. It is a weird. He should be bigger than he is, in my opinion,
He should be working
because
at
I've
the very
seen him
least.
in things, and he is a good. For example, he's in
He's
that
in
good.
Gone Girl.
He's in Gone
I
Girl.
enjoy him
in
as a
that bit
cop in
role.
Gone Girl.
He actually has a big role in the Elizabeth Olsen, Jesse Plemons. You remember that Elizabeth Olsen miniseries on HBO about?
Yeah.
I think she's not a serial killer, but she kills someone.
Yeah.
He plays her husband,
Oh, cool.
and he's good. He has a nice little
I'll
role.
have to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that guy. Again, I know you haven't watched Babylon yet. Apparently, he has a role in Babylon. Every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, where is he?
That's interesting.
But that movie is just so quick and frenetic that he could be in a frame or two. Just I'm always searching for him. I love that guy, and it's because of this movie. It's all colored by. It's the same reason I love Kate Hudson.
Right.
When Kate Hudson was announced to be in Glass Onion, I'm like, oh,
Yes.
Penny Lane is back.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't Kate Hudson who's back. It's like, oh, Penny Lane's in a movie again. Because again, we'll bookend it really quickly, but she's so much better than the rom-com arc, and maybe she'll have like a cool
late period. She's still really young.
Career. Yeah,
For,
I know. I know.
She's like in her 40s.
She is, and she's maybe she'll have another arc,
Mm-hmm.
but man, she's so talented. So I guess
We should talk about the Oscars quick.
yeah,
I want to talk about those.
Yeah.
And talk about one person that we haven't really talked about too much in Frances McDormand, who is really good in this. She's William's mom, and she and Zoe Deschanel and Patrick Fugit have this great chemistry, and it's kind of the transition from Frances McDormand going into like her mom roles, like, and the middle age, and she is so funny. You can, I don't know, maybe you'd know more than I, if that was kind of Cameron's relationship with his mom, if she's like heavily based on
it was. In fact, in one of the special features I watched earlier, Cameron Crowe's mom was on set for all those scenes.
Great.
For
Okay.
Frances McDormand, and like they got on really
That's
well.
Perfect. Okay.
And I think at one point Cameron was like, "Yeah, like they were making it hard on me." It was like, "I'm trying to direct a movie, and I have my mom, and the woman was playing my mom, making fun of me and cutting up behind scenes, and So I think it's very much real. I mean, I'm sure it's played up. She probably wasn't that overbearing, but maybe she was. Maybe she was even more overbearing
Definitely
than that.
heightened. Yeah.
Who knows?
Heightened.
But Frances McDormand is great in this. I think I would have preferred to see other people get nominations. She got nominations for this movie.
And
But she was more established, and that's how a lot of this stuff works. And
Yep.
she had already gotten a couple noms, and
biggest name in the movie at that time.
she was huge. Yes,
Oscar winner from Fargo.
Yep.
She's the biggest name
Yep.
in that movie at the time.
100%.
And maybe still today. I don't know. Maybe she's maybe more well known.
There's a reason that she's the second name on that
on the
poster you got
poster.
me.
Yeah.
She's great in this.
Yeah,
that's all I can say. She's great in everything.
I was listening to a podcast recently, and that was talking about this movie, and they mentioned how, just going back to the Oscars, and so Frances McDormand and Kate Hudson are both nominated as Best Supporting Actress. No other acting noms, but Kate Hudson had, I guess, like won a lot of the precursors, if not all, and was nominated
including
everywhere.
The Golden Globe. Yep.
And Marcia Gay Harden from Pollock, the Ed Harris vehicle, the biopic, she just stormed in and picked up the Oscar, and that was that for Kate. And I think partly had to do with maybe since her and Frances were nominated, a split votes. But I haven't even looked at the list.
That's why Leo wanted to get nominated for Blood Diamond instead of The Departed, because he didn't want to take anything away from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, he's like, my boy Damon is doing good in this
movie.
And Wahlberg's doing good in this movie. Nominate me for the other great movie I made this year. It's like,
that's pretty baller.
Literally, he just like called in. It's like, I know you're going to nominate me. Just nominate me for the other one instead.
Like, what? Even though I'd argue Departed is the better performance.
Oh, he's better in that.
He's
for
definitely
sure.
better.
It kind of shows his attitude. He's selfless in his own way. He's a weirdo, but I love that guy. But yeah,
other Oscars, won Best Screenplay, like we've said, nominated for Best Picture. I'm pretty sure Crowe was
nominated for Best Director.
But I think, I'm glad it won Best Screenplay. This movie is always going to be remembered.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a part of a lot of different, young movie lovers, like discovery of this, past world in the 70s and that music scene.
Yep.
And, you'll feel that love. You do feel that love from Crowe when watching it, that appreciation, like we mentioned earlier. And I think that some movies, if you could go back in 2010, 10 years after this movie came out, you'd probably do the Oscars a bit differently. You'd give this movie a lot more love because it has, and so this has some time, just has.
With the way that, nominations go for all like the major entertainment, like they don't care about nominating 15 people for one project anymore, I think we could have seen
Crudup, at least
Crudup. I think you could have seen Seymour Hoffman get a nom just because.
I'm surprised he didn't.
Just because of who he is and what he was doing in that. You could make a case for a lot of, and we have. You can make a case for a lot of people getting love for this movie. 10 years later, I think this movie would have done much better.
Yes.
But 25 years later, in reality,
Right, 25. I didn't even think.
it still has a life of its own. They're releasing vinyl box sets and releasing this and
The
releasing
4K
that.
they just put out.
They put out the new 4K.
Mhm.
When they put out the new 4K, they put out an actual article written under the name William Miller.
Oh,
That's
that's
just
cool.
pages and pages and pages. I didn't even read the whole thing. I'll send it to you. It's really
Yeah,
incredible,
I can see that.
actually. Cameron is still doing Q&As about this movie. He's
Mhm.
still doing YouTube videos about this movie where he's opening up his record collection and his own tickets. Like, oh yeah, this is from the movie and this is from it, this is a living, breathing thing, because not only is it living and breathing as a film, but like you said, it's bringing back a bygone era that a
Mhm.
lot of us never got to experience. A lot of our parents and grandparents did,
Right.
and probably see through rose tinted glasses, much like Penny Lane wears in this film. But it it doesn't shy away from the negatives. It gives a very well-rounded portrayal of everything from that time period. If anything, it's probably a little too kind to just some of
I
the
was just gonna say,
musicians
yeah.
that he was on tour with. I know that the articles that he wrote, he saw a lot. He saw a lot, and
Mhm.
a lot of these rock stars are very tepid, angry individuals, and were very mean to him. So it's cool that he was able to synthesize something positive and loving
Mhm.
out of all of those years, and that he looks back on it fondly with real warmth and genuine respect.
Mhm.
I love this movie. I love the performances. I love I love the screenplay. It's one of my favorite screenplays. It's a great soundtrack. It's highly worth your time.
Mhm.
Do you have any other thoughts on Almost Famous before we close out?
It is a YouTube clip classic.
It
I think
is.
that it's like in the top 5. I've seen that Lester Bangs compilation numerous times, and like you were saying, this is a movie you can go back to again and again and again and pick up different things. I mean,
Every
I think
time
you
I do.
find
Yep.
that especially in a lot of like longer epic, you know,
Yes.
2.5 hour plus movies.
Yeah.
And but this doesn't feel over bloated. It
No.
doesn't feel like,
And
yeah, maybe you could cut a little bit here and there,
we're
but
saying that from the director's cut perspective.
right.
The director's cut doesn't feel bloated.
People would, I mean, people that disagree with us would
Oh,
be
I'm
like,
sure.
oh, the theatrical, way less fat, they trim the fat all over the place. But no, I mean, I think with
They
something
trimmed a
like
lot of
this,
love and emotion.
right,
Yeah.
and scenes that it's almost like Peter Jackson with his Lord of the Rings movies.
Once you see it, you can't go back.
You can't go back,
Yep.
and you see a lot of intention in those
Yep.
deleted scenes
Yep.
that should be in the
A lot
final
of
product.
character.
Right.
A lot of great performance,
And I'm sure that was a studio interference
Of
thing. They
course.
probably, a lot of notes came after he said he wanted to make that long of a movie, but yeah, definitely seek out the bootleg cut if you haven't. It's, I mean, this is corny, but it's a magical movie. It's so much fun. It's William going to this world, and it totally envelops him, spits him out.
It's like the
Unfortunately,
Wizard of Oz.
it is. It is, and he goes back home at the end. It's no
He
place like
learns
home.
all these lessons from
Literally.
all these people.
Yep.
Learn something from Jeff. Learn something from Russell. Learn something from Silent Ed.
Mm-hmm.
Something from Larry, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's a for some reason the Wizard of Oz just popped in my head. You're transported. His world was black and white, and it became color.
That
and then,
sequence when he goes into the venue with the band, that's when it like clicks.
Because that's when it's like the whole look of the movie, and even like the color grade of the movie becomes a little lighter, a little more magical, and the light becomes a little more reflective and a little more heightened, and it really is something. But I'll put it this way, in terms of the bootleg cut over the theatrical. When Cameron, and I read this morning, when Cameron was like shopping the script around, he sent it to a lot of people, and he sent it to Spielberg.
Oh wow!
And
okay.
Spielberg, it was 167 pages, and he just wrote back a note, direct every word, Steven Spielberg. And he wasn't able to do that with the theatrical cut, but I think he took that to heart, and he directed the hell out of that movie. And the director's cut, if if you won't take my word for it, take Steven Spielberg's word for it.
Right.
Direct every word.
Yep.
And every word of this screenplay, every word of this movie, every scene of this movie is worth watching. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, man.
Yep.
Thanks for watching.